Okay, so we see a boy, he's working out, right? And at the end, he says that I'm so tired, I have no energy left, right? So, energy is required for us to do any type of work, isn't it? Now, where does this energy come from? Of course, it is the food that we eat that gives us or provides us energy, because the food is our fuel, isn't it? It's the fuel to our body, right? But how does this food provide us with energy? All right, so this is what we are going to learn about in this chapter. That is, we are going to study about respiration in organisms. All right, so this is your new chapter. Now see this blacksmith, he is doing some tough work, isn't it? And he needs energy. Then you see this girls, she's working out, right? She needs energy. Then there is another person, he is dancing, right? So he also needs energy. But you know, it's not only for this kind of job that we need energy, we also need energy for like when you sit at your table to study, then also you need energy, even if you are sitting, right? You also need energy when you sleep. All right, so because even if we are sleeping, you know, our body, the cells present in our body, they are performing their own functions, right? So we need energy for different type of work, even if we are sleeping. Okay. Now see here, this is an image of a cell, right? Now this cell or this type of cells make our body, and you know, this respiration which occurs inside the cells provides us with energy. All right, now this respiration occurs in different parts of the cell. All right, and you know, the cell is called the smallest structural and functional unit of an organism. All right, now inside this cell you'll find that functions like nutrition, then excretion or reproduction, different types of functions occur inside our cells which keep us alive. And for all these functions inside the cells, energy is required, right? Now, this energy is released inside the cell by, you know, breaking down of food. Okay, and this process is respiration, and it occurs in the cytoplasm as well as the mitochondria of a cell. All right. Okay, now see here, cellular respiration is the breakdown of food in the cells to release energy. Now, when we eat food, right, after digestion, one component that we get is a carbohydrate called glucose. Now, this glucose, when it enters into the cells during assimilation, you can see that yellow part on my screen. Let us assume it to be a cell of our body. Now, the glucose enters the cell of the body, right, and it is broken down into carbon dioxide and water, and the energy which is stored in glucose. Remember, glucose is an energy rich molecule, it's a carbohydrate which gives us energy. So all the energy that was stored in glucose, it is, you know, released when it is broken down into carbon dioxide and water. This process is known as cellular respiration because it occurs inside the cells, and it provides us with energy for doing different types of work, or it also provides the cells for doing the different type of work that it is required to perform. All right. Now see here, some people are running away from a lion, right? Another person is running on a track, right? So now for running on a track, or whether people are running for their life, you know, they need energy. And we have already told or, you know, discussed that energy is also required when we are asleep, right? Our body needs energy, our cell needs energy. Now, you know, this breakdown of glucose in the presence of oxygen in the living cells to form carbon dioxide, water, and energy is known as aerobic respiration. All right. The word aerobic itself, it refers to air, Okay, so this is the process which occurs in all the cells of most of the living organisms, where glucose is broken down in the presence of oxygen in the living cells to produce carbon dioxide and water. And when glucose is broken down, its energy, whatever energy is present in it, it is released. All right. Now this breakdown of glucose in the presence of oxygen is known as aerobic respiration. Now, another type of respiration occur, right, in some organisms in the absence of oxygen. Okay, so this respiration which occurs in the absence of oxygen, here also glucose is broken down, but see, there is no oxygen here. It occurs in organisms like yeast, some bacteria, all right, and it breaks down the glucose to a component called alcohol, right, along with the liberation of carbon dioxide gas and little amount of energy. Okay, so this type of respiration where the glucose is broken down in the absence of oxygen is known as anaerobic respiration. All right. See, it occurs, you can see the image of an yeast here where anaerobic respiration occurs in the absence of oxygen. All right, so this is yeast, and this process where alcohol is produced in the yeast in the absence of oxygen, it is known as fermentation. All right, so this kind of anaerobic respiration in the absence of oxygen also occurs in some bacteria, all right, and some other smaller organisms, usually unicellular small organisms. Okay, and they are called anaerobes. Okay, there is respiration going on in them in the absence of oxygen. All right, now this girl, you can see she is cycling, right? Another person, he is swimming. Okay, so these people, when they are doing this kind of work, or when a person runs, okay, maybe he is running, he is racing, so they will need, instant extra energy for their muscles to contract and relax so that they can keep on moving, right? So you know how we get this extra energy, instant energy? It is not by aerobic respiration, because that is not sufficient. We don't have enough oxygen to break down all the glucose. Anaerobic respiration occurs in this kind of situations in our muscles. All right, so during insufficient oxygen supply in the muscles, what happens? Glucose is broken down to lactic acid and energy is released, instant energy. All right, remember, this process occurs in the absence of oxygen, and it is an anaerobic respiration occurring inside the muscles. It is required at the time of emergency in the muscles. So glucose is broken down anaerobically to produce lactic acid. But remember, when lactic acid is it gets accumulated in our body, you can see the image of muscle fibers. All right, so inside these muscle fibers, this anaerobic respiration occurred to produce lactic acid. We get cramps when lactic acid accumulates in our muscles or muscle fibers. All right, now when we when we breathe in more oxygen, all right, or maybe what we can do is that these cramps are very painful. When you get cramps, we usually ask people to massage our muscles or legs or arms wherever we are having our cramps, or we can take a hot water bag, right? What happens when you take a hot water bag or we massage the cramped part? What happens is that there is better blood circulation. Right, this improves blood circulation. As a result, when blood circulation is improved, the muscles get more supply of oxygen, and as a result, with the help of this oxygen, the lactic acid is broken down to carbon dioxide and water, right? And since lactic acid is broken down into carbon dioxide and water, the amount of lactic acid reduces in our muscles and we get relief from the pain. Okay, so this is what happens in our muscles, that is anaerobic respiration occurs to give us instant energy, but later on this lactic acid breaks down to carbon dioxide and water when we get more supply of oxygen. Okay,